Good evening. I'm John Batchelor. This is The John Batchelor Show. Mary Kissel, the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal and the host of Opinion Journal each day at 1 p.m. East Coast time, is here. Mary's show covers the editorial look at the world of news, and much in the editorial conversation these last weeks is Edward Snowden and the NSA. Mary, I have to say that the NSA story has taken surprising turns now that Mr. Snowden is a sudden immigrant to Russia, and that is part, or at least a predicate, of the breakdown in conversation between Washington and Moscow and the postponement, delay, cancellation of a summit. You would say that things had gone badly since Mr. Snowden fled Hawaii.
Yeah, it has been. And I have to say, John, we were really amazed to see the president take the step of canceling that summit. It's, shall we say, some spine there that was good to see. The
president canceled the summit. We're told that there were a lot of issues. There are many things to talk about. Snowden certainly comes up in the conversation about Moscow and Washington. We're going to now not only travel back to Moscow, we're going to come back to Washington and go back in time. This is not a story entirely about President Obama. This is also a story about Senator Obama, elected easily in 2004, taking office in 2005, and serving his first term before he was elected President of the United States. Kara Brandeisky from ProPublica, she covers the NSA very, very perspicaciously these days, has a story up about Senator Obama and his opinion of the NSA 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. Kara, a very good evening to you. I learned from you that Senator Obama co-sponsored a 2007 measure that would have required the government to tell defendants before it used any evidence collected on the controversial section of the Patriot Act, known as 215, much in discussion these last days, 215. That co-sponsoring, how did that bill do? And did the senator at the time voice his disappointment? Good evening to you, Kara.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. Well, that bill did not actually make it out of committee, but another section of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act requires that the government tell defendants before it uses evidence collected under that law. And now this is important because the Supreme Court ruled in February that if you can't prove that you have been monitored, you can't challenge the constitutionality of the surveillance. Now, under the Obama administration, they've taken a different tact where they'll tell defendants that they've been monitored, but they won't tell them under which portion of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which part of it actually authorized their surveillance, so then defendants are unable to challenge the law. Whereas as a senator, like you said, he supported a measure that would have required the government to tell defendants when they used the Patriot Act to surveil.
One other detail before we plunge into this, and I turn it over to Ms. Kissel. The Senator Obama also participated with then Senator Feingold's 2008 amendment to oblige the executive branch, then the Bush administration, to report to Congress how many American communications had been swept up during surveillance. Does that now happen? Do they report to Congress?
They do not. They, in fact, say that it would be impossible to calculate that number. But at the time, Congress was considering the bill that was passed, and we now know came to authorize the PRISM program. And Senator Feingold wanted the NSA to segregate any American communications that they accidentally collected, and then require NSA analysts to get court approval to look at those communications, and then report back on how many they were accidentally collecting. And of course, that was not adopted into law.
Kara, is that a difficult thing to do technologically, to segregate American communications versus foreign communications? Why did the amendment fail?
Yes, the NSA has said that it is very difficult technologically. The Guardian reports that the NSA has tried to segregate the communications, and they've been unable to do so. It seems like right now, from the reporting that we've seen, they're just collecting so much data, it's difficult for them to figure out what is American and what is foreign, which, causes a lot of concerns as far as the constitutionality. But, ultimately that amendment was not adopted, and Right now there's another bill. Senator Al Franken has introduced a bill that would, again, sort of ask the government to calculate some of these numbers, but right now the government says that's impossible.
Would you say, Kara, it wasn't an exaggeration to say that Senator Obama was very close to Justin Amash and John Conyers in their recent action on the House floor, that Senator Obama much resembles the outrage that we hear from the members of Congress about the NSA? Is that a fair generalization?
I think that's fair. As you know, the Amash Amendment would have ended the bulk phone records collection program, but still allowed the NSA to collect records related to individual suspects without a warrant based on probable cause. And now Obama co-sponsored a bill that would have required the government to demonstrate with specific and articulable facts that it wanted records related to a suspect or someone with 1 degree of separation from a suspect. Again, it's not saying you can't collect these records at all. It's saying they actually have to be relevant to a specific person under investigation, which is very similar to what Representative Amash said.
Kara, what changed? And I might be asking you to speculate a little bit here, but is it that the president, once he got into office, had access to more threat information and he changed his position? Was there something political going on? Why the difference between the senator and the president?
The stark difference.
Right. I can't exactly speak to the reason he changed his mind, but it's certainly true that, a senator plays a very different role than the president, and the president sees all kinds of information that senators do not. In fact, we learned this after Edward Snowden's disclosures, when a lot of members of Congress expressed shock that the surveillance was going on. But I just think it's important to remember this historical context, because Congress is going to take up a lot of similar proposals, and the Obama administration will likely oppose them. And it's just important to remember that not that long ago, Obama was on the other side. Well,
it's interesting, too, John, because here's a president that's concentrated power in the executive, but as a senator wanted to diffuse that power back to Congress.
Kara, it's possible that the president is going to comment on all of this. I don't think he's spoken comprehensively yet, but you've published a very detailed compare and contrast between Senator Obama and President Obama. There's a vast executive branch. Have any of the people in the executive offices or the basement of the White House, have they responded to you or published anything you could say as a rebuke of your analysis?
No, they haven't published a rebuke, but I think it is important to note that since Edward Snowden's disclosures, the administration has walked back some of these policies. For example, the administration was fighting Freedom of Information Act suits regarding some of these classified court opinions, and since Edward Snowden's disclosures, they're completing a declassification review and seeing what they can release. They've already released a redacted version of one court order. Also, again, as far as giving defendants a chance to challenge surveillance evidence, in one bomb plot prosecution, they have told the defendant under which part of the law they authorized surveillance. So I think that the disclosures, more than my article, have been putting a lot of pressure on the administration, and there is movement in some of these policies.
President Amash. You like that, Mary? President Amash? I don't know. It doesn't sing.
I don't know. I don't think it really has a ring to it, John.
Detail here, Mary. Presidents do go through evolutionary process when they get into the White House, but this particular president has been very clear about his belief system. This is not a man who is known as
wishy-washy.
He's not. He doesn't make expedient decisions. No. He makes a determination and he stays with it. Don't you think this is a surprising contrast?
Well, again, but as Kara says, we don't know what he's seen that might have changed his mind.
Kara Brandeisky for ProPublica. Senator Obama versus President Obama. We can stand back and watch them debate. Mary Kissel, the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal. President Amash was a joke. It's okay. It's a good idea, though. I mentioned.
I don't think so, John.
I'm John Batchelor.